The fan response to Star Trek Picard its showrunner didn't anticipate? Is it this one? Yeah, that's kind of the response a lot of us have had. Hello everyone, I am Mecha Random 42. The one, the only, the original, your favorite YouTube harpy. This is great. So I did just watch the finale of Picard earlier. I do have my review up of that. Yeah, that's pretty much all Picard is. It's just, it's not gotten any better. It's not gotten any more intellectual. It's not gotten any smarter. It thinks it is. It thinks it is. It's really cute that it thinks it is. I'm just going to skim this one because the real meat of it is in the Variety article they pulled it from. But I like how big they made this on Cinema. Is it Cinema Blend? Cinema Blend. I will say I don't think I quite understood that there were going to be people who'd be upset about a character's death. Now he's referring to Egypt's death. Remember when we're like, wait a minute, that's Ichab? That's in the most horrific way possible, and the most brutal, disgusting, and I'm only showing you just a snippet. It goes on for about 45 seconds, long enough to where if I showed you the whole clip, I'd have to go in and be like, bite my copyright, because that's one of the things that they like to do. Their little bots will scan. But no, it was so gratuitous, so long, so disgusting that people were upset by it, including me. Plus, like, okay, you killed off Egypt for no reason. That's simply the fact of a character dying, that was not okay with them. No, it's the brutality of it as well. It's that you brought in a character for member berries. And you did nothing with them other than just murder them violently because it's cute. Hey, it's edgy. It's not cute or edgy though. Even if I had known that, I've ultimately dismissed it because it seems I just don't understand television in that way. All right. When you take away something we like, all right. Let's say I had a copy of Michael Chabon's book, and that's who they're talking about here. Michael Chabon. This is an interview with Michael Chabon, the most recent showrunner of, I don't know, 300 or 400. There's about 47 producers on this, and nobody knows what's going on from many sources that I've heard. From people who know people on set, from people who work on set, from people who, nobody knows anything behind the scenes. You got 5 or 6 people in charge of any given episode, and one person doesn't know what the other one's doing. It's like having 2 different managers for 3 people. I've worked in really bad retail jobs where we had 2 managers for 3 people, and the 2 managers didn't know what the other one was doing. And these are just the team lead managers. And then they had one on top of that, and then they had another one, and then another one on top of that. Because producers are about as useless as retail managers, in my opinion. Don't at me. Michael Chabon spent the majority of his career as a novelist, which may be why the reaction of Star Trek Picard fans took him by surprise. Well, see, I'm not a fan. I'm a fan of Star Trek The Next Generation. I'm not a fan of Picard, because I've got Next Generation over here behind me. I've got a lot of Next Generation. I've got enough of that'll last me for a very, very, very long time, and I didn't need a continuation of it. I didn't need them to bring it back just to do this. Or this.
Fucking hubris.
Yeah, we didn't need Admiral effing Hubris to come in and talk down to... We didn't need any of that. How would Michael Chabon like it if somebody like me came in and took his novel and took all the characters out, swapped them out for something completely different than what they were originally? And I don't mean just like a game of Wokemon, you know? We're not talking about a
race swap
or this.
Gender swap.
Or even...
Double shiny race and gender swap.
Even the granddaddy of all Wokemon, the double shiny.
Double shiny race and gender swap.
Even without doing all, if we just change their personalities, we change them so much to where they do not resemble, act like, interact with, do anything, make the same choices that they did in his novels, right? If somebody came in and just completely disrespected his source material like that, changed everything, even though he has his established lore, yeah, I imagine he'd be upset. And even though I didn't create these things, I have an example of how they have always been before me, and this stuff,
sheer fucking hubris.
Is exactly why Picard is not a good series. It's not a good continuation. Same thing goes with Discovery.
I like science.
Not talking Discovery yet, Spock. We'll get there soon enough. Oh, and it may be delayed because people are having to work from home to do the special effects. Might be delayed. Not delayed long enough for my taste. All right, let's get into the meat of this article. This is the one where Chabon decided to tell us that we're not smart enough for Star Trek. Variety tweeted this out last night. And this actually comes from when Variety sent this out last night. Chabon on Star Trek's toxic fandom contingent. You're motivated to have things simply because it's possibly going to piss off or provoke people who seem to have missed the memo about what exactly Star Trek has always been about. Oh, really? Star Trek is murder Trek now. Really? Star Trek is killing characters rather than trying to save them. You missed the mark on what Star Trek is about. And of course I had to respond to this, and I didn't just want to retweet it. No, I actually responded to it, and I said, sadly, the showrunner has missed the mark on what Star Trek was all about, but maybe I'll just take my too dumb for Star Trek ass home if I'm not good enough for them. Or maybe they can do a better job and be clearer with whatever message Murder Trek has. And see, that's the problem there, is that we're not the toxic ones. We're not out there promoting the murderers. And we're not out there promoting this, oh, he's just an old man and he's just worthless and we need to talk down to him because he's an elder. No, we don't promote that crap. We don't promote the gratuitous excessive amount of death in this. And there's somebody, Bird of Prey 5, actually, shout out to him. He's been actually keeping track of the death toll in this. I lost count. You have so many characters that just die for no reason. And in the season finale, they have Jerry Ryan's character, not 7 of 9, come in and kill Romulan incest sister for Hugh, because she knows Hugh more in real life, because this is the real life clique of Star Trek behind the scenes, the Star Trek conventions. That's why you got Icheb's death in the most brutal way possible. That's why you had Jerry Ryan shoot him in the stomach and then mourn the loss of Hugh, which she did not know, but her manager, agent, whoever is married to the actor in real life, so she knows the actor quite well in real life, right? So of course she's going to mourn Hugh more than she does a character she actually knew in continuity with the show. No. This is just a click of, this is what we're playing behind the scenes with the actors, and we're going to bring this garbage and this toxicity on screen with us, right? And there's Grandpa Hippie over there. Watch Storytime with Michael Chabon. He's reading some of his own books, and they are the most hilarious entertainment. If you're somebody who partakes, I'm not even kidding. Even just slow him down a little bit so he sounds like he's had a little glug, glug, glug. Oh, it's hilarious. It is more entertaining than anything on Picard. And I think that's probably the intellect level of a lot of the writers on this show. It's just, you're good at preschool. You're good at kindergarten. This whole baby's first F-bomb and a teenager getting on the mic and screaming the N-word on Call of Duty sort of version of Star Trek isn't quite cutting it. Because that's what this really feels like. This feels like a lot of people finally allowed to put an F-word on television, and they've been waiting for so long because mom and dad wouldn't let them because standards and practices, and it was just decent. And they're like getting out there going, oh, sheer effing hubris. And not really realizing that, okay, it's just disrespectful to the character to portray everybody as interpersonal, bickery children. And that's what it is. And if they really, really want to push the envelope of Star Trek, maybe bring in some giggity. I mean, Star Trek's never had any same-sex anything ever in Star Trek. They've never had, L representation. They never had T representation. They've certainly never tackled storylines where people change out of one body to another and then have to go around experiencing, hey, I used to be a man. How do I handle that now? How do I control the urges that I had from another? They don't ever deal with that ever in Star Trek. They've never had any of that. And the fact that they have 7 of 9 hold hands with Rafi is the most stunning and brave choice they could have ever done. See, so stunning and brave. Oh, if only they had some sort of a storyline where the taboo wasn't the fact that they were the same, downstairs bit, the jiggly bits. But instead, it took a look at an alien civilization that might be taboo just because those symbiotes had been married before. If only there was a show like that. That dealt with it in a less over-the-top, beat you over the head with it because, hey, representation, hey, do you like girls? It's okay to like girls because the TV show told you to. Because you have no reason to ever be okay with liking girls if you're a girl unless a TV show tells you to. I mean, gee, what's next? An L superhero? I had to. It's just so childish at this point. We get it. I'm bisexual. I don't care about this stuff. What happened to Chakotay? Last time, 7 of 9 really was coming into her own with humanity. Ended up admitting that she was really into Chakotay. He was into her. It was a little rushed for my taste. But then again, I did watch the last season, I think, pretty much all in one go. I know the last season of Voyager I did watch all in one go. And maybe that's why it felt really, really quick. And that's another problem with Picard, is that it's supposed to be a 10-part movie, basically, and they didn't even bother to plan out from beginning to end. At the very least, if I were making Picard, and I knew that it was one continual story, okay, we have to knock out and block out this particular story. There's a little wiggle room for reshoots or redubs and lines, but you do not do reshoots of entire episodes because nothing makes sense. This is why you have to write your story from beginning, middle to end. And they didn't do that. Oh, there's more of this article, though. I didn't even get into the article. 15 minutes in of record. I'm probably going to trim a little. Star Trek is divisive, and Michael Chabon doesn't mind at all. Of course he doesn't. I wouldn't mind either. It takes almost no time at all when talking with Michael Chabon to realize that the Pulitzer Prize-winning author of The Amazing Adventures of Cavalier and Clay is a diehard Star Trek fan. See, that's why they're putting it in quotes. Star Trek fan. You put me in charge of a show, I'll be the biggest Expanse fan in the universe if you tell me to, if I'm in charge of a TV show. Right? That's all it is. That's all it really is. Given that he's a showrunner for the latest Trek iteration, having no television experience whatsoever, right? He never worked in television, did he? I don't even hear that. They always mention, he's a Pulitzer Prize winning author. Okay, so I'm a YouTube video maker. That means I'm supposed to be behind the scenes directing a big budget movie? No, I yell at a camera and I upload it to YouTube. That's all I do. I'm not qualified for any other medium here. Maybe he wasn't qualified for this. Did you guys ever think of that? Maybe you don't leave a novelist in charge of your show. You need a showrunner to run a show. Bring in somebody who has experience with this. To get people's super nerdy and super technical questions about what kind of a class of a starship is meant to be in that one image that you can only see if you freeze frame, that's been so fun. Oh, because you don't have an answer to that's the thing. They don't have answers to any of those. All these starships are just copy and paste, whatever. None of these ships have deck plans. None of the technical stuff makes sense in science.
I like science.
Not Star Trek, Picard, and Discovery, science. No, real science, like real world. Because this is the thing. None of this stuff really makes sense in real world. They're saying they're taking one little proton from Data's brain, basically, from his positronic brain, from his neural net. You're taking one proton of it. That's like saying I am taking one drop of tea and making an entire bottle out of that. with everything. That's like saying I'm taking one brain cell and you can clone all of the memories. My whole memories are not on one just one little brain cell, right? They're not. They're on the entire thing. So you would need the entire thing to copy. They don't even make sense in science. They don't understand how basic drag and drop technology works. They don't understand basic computing, recording, data storage, scientific theory. They don't understand that sound doesn't work in space. You know, so we're in space where no one can hear you scream. They don't understand that in Star Trek Discovery or Picard. At least both of these shows, they don't understand any of these.
I like science.
You like it so much you don't know what the crap it is. New Spock, fake Spock. Picard has been a major success. Oh, really? What are the numbers? What kind of numbers is it doing? Because if you look on the, let's say, the sites that we can judge, like, let's say, F Movies or something, for example, you can see 700 people watched Picard on F Movies, right? You can see however many people watched my review of it. You can see however many people watched Will Wheaton's Ready Room review. You can see the numbers. You can see how many people watch it some ways. And if people aren't watching it one way, how many people are actually watching it for reals? Oh, they won't tell you. But we know how many people aren't watching it because they lost half of the viewers in Canada. Because those numbers are released. Picard has not been a typical Star Trek show. No shit. Yeah, rather than reunite Jean-Luc with his old crew, Chabon and Akiva Goldsman, Alex Kurtzman, Kristen Beyer, all of these knuckleheads introduced the character to a brand new cast. But, they held up so well, they had to call in, who? Uncle Will Riker in for the finale. Oh yeah, they did. They had to bring in Will Riker for the reshoot scene for the finale. You know, the only one I liked with Riker making pizza. Yeah, they had to bring in old Will Riker to come in and save the day via Deus Ex Machina. Out of the blue, out of nowhere, without any explanation. Oh, yeah, I borrowed a ship, and here's my uniform. And that's a Star Trek show going on. Why can't I see the Star Trek show? You got the music, it comes in, boo, boo, boo. Okay, Star Trek's on now. What's next? No, they can't do that. But no, these new crew members stand up on their own. So much so that you need to bring... You just keep thinking that. They're so stunning and brave of you to think that. Even more unexpectedly, in the world of Picard, Starfleet has become crippled by fear. Yeah, they had to break Starfleet. Well, keep in mind, Starfleet is just the Earth's military in this, which they don't know because people like Rafi have been fired from the military.
Oh, wait, you serious? Let me laugh even harder.
Yeah, fired from the military, which is not a thing that happens, but I can see why, because she's kind of useless and a bit of a space junkie. Picard, Starfleet's become gripped by fear. Yeah, what about the Federation? What's the rest of the Federation? What about the other races? Oh, they forget that there are other races in the Federation, like Andorians and Tellarites and, you know, all of these other... They forget about that. Vulcans, they don't know any of that. They just care about Romulans and elves and androids and robots and, garbage. And member berries.
Remember Chewbacca again? Oh, I love to remember Chewbacca.
The candid, wide-range conversation with Variety had touched on everything, from radically reimagining the Borg, which served no purpose in Picard. Oh, no. It's just there to waste your time, to drag out about an hour of plot into 10 episodes, to keep people subscribed to CBS All Access. They ask him, now that season 1 of Picard is almost done, how have you been feeling about the season and the feeling of the fan response to it? Well, I've been pretty excited. I think inevitably I spend a fair amount of time looking around on Twitter and Reddit, you know, trying to get a sense of people's responses. Twitter is a kind of horrible place. Oh yeah, it is, but it gives me a lot of material, so I kind of screwed with it without it sort of situation. So I really wasn't encouraged to spend too much time looking around. But then I came up with this forum, setting up an Instagram story once a week to take people's questions. One of my children showed me you could use it, Instagram in that way. Okay, boomer. As someone who spent a fair amount of time over the years on Memory Alpha looking at Reddit and enjoying the way people enjoy Star Trek online, it's been fun to see the show getting absorbed into the greater corpus of Star Trek. What makes me feel good is when I see it being treated, in a sense, the same as fans treated previous versions of the show. That does cut both ways, they respond. He says, right, part of what you're talking about is, for example, the way I felt about Star Trek The Next Generation when it premiered. I was sitting in front of my TV watching it counter 4 point, and I hated it. I kind of hate watched it. No, you didn't. Nobody actually hate watched Encounter at Farpoint. This is just a flat out lie. You probably did not watch Star Trek. He's a reader. He probably didn't even own a television in the 1980s, this guy. He's an old hippie ass reader. He's a book guy. He is not gonna sit there and watch Star. No. I don't buy that for 1 minute. He's looking online and seeing the propaganda out there, which is, oh, everybody hated Next Generation when it came out, which we've already gone over and proven that was a lie. This is just perpetuating the same shit. All right, so familiar with the way Trek fans can respond to new iterations of Star Trek.
Sheer fucking hubris.
I first saw Deep Space Nine, I'm like, I don't think I like this. I'm just going to stick to these others. And because I saw it out of order, when I went back in and watched it in order, the writing and the stories and the effects and the characters made sense. It still was in the universe of Star Trek, and it made sense to expand it. It expanded the world of Star Trek. This does not. This destroys the world of Star Trek, and it does not get any better. The characters are not winning me over. The characters aren't winning a lot of us over. A lot of people dipped. There's way too much that's different about it in the wrong way. And I'm very much a big picture person. I can take the big picture of everything. I hate arguing semantics. I hate arguing the details, because at the end of the day, it's always yes. And when people complained the first time, about violence or F-bombs or something being too dark, they should have not done it again. What they do is they double down on the dumb stuff that people complain about, right? They double down on it, and they don't understand that these things have already been fixed. These things have already been acknowledged, addressed, fixed. You don't need to go back in and break it again just because somebody complained in the past. That is childish and petty, and shame on you, Michael Chabon, for going along with this. Shame on you for reciting their nonsense garbage. I went back and looked on Google Groups, which acquired Usenet, so you can look through the old Usenet groups. You know what? I didn't even have a computer until 98 or 99. I didn't. I am, as you guys know, I'm a music person too. I actually had more guitars and instruments and shit, and I was writing quite a bit back in the 90s. I liked Voyager to a point. I dipped out during the Kazon stuff because I think they did that season cliffhanger where they dropped him on the planet. I'm like, this is kind of dumb. I did not start a YouTube channel. I did not rework my life to make it a point to get this stuff fixed. All right? I did not vent my frustrations on anything. It wasn't that offensive. This is. And if they don't understand that, then they are not smart enough to write Star Trek. They are not smart enough to write Star Trek, nor are they smart enough to preach to me about Star Trek. These are toxic, childish, petty people behind the scenes of this, and the fact that they have to use variety to write hit pieces about people who criticize them is disgusting and weak-minded. Because if you go in and you watch the show, you will know that they need to come in and they need to bring the old characters just to appease just to get anybody to watch this dreck. You need to have somebody like Riker come in, because since Discovery worked so well with all their original characters, they ended up having to bring in Spock and Pike for season 2.
I like science.
You know, because it was such a great big success and people loved it and those characters stood so much on their own. Same thing with needing to drag out Picard because he's the guy, he does the face palm, that's all I know. To this extent, I was aware of the toxic fandom. The the SJWs are the toxic ones. They're the ones that hide behind the color of a character's skin to critic-proof them. And they tote them out like they're a goddamn circus freak, and I know it because I'm the B in the alphabet, and we get treated like that too. Don't you forget it. You know what? I'm not going to spend any more of my time ripping apart people who are just not on my level, right? They're just not on the level. Tell me what you guys think in the comment section below. And you know what, Chabon? Stick to reading kids' books. I think you have a talent. I am not joking. They're actually really unironically funny. Tell me what you guys think in the comment section below. I am MechaRandom42. Check out my review of Picard. It's about an hour and 17 because it's just a freeform rant. See you guys later. Bye. Thanks for watching. If you liked it, make sure to hit that like button. And if you want to see more, don't forget to subscribe. See you in the next video. Bye.